Good morning, everyone. My name is Craig Moore. I'm Senior Business Development Manager here at FE Fund Info. Thank you so much for joining this morning's session. I'm going to share some content with you and be able to demonstrate today through today's session FE Advisor Asset. So let me just quickly get started and we will jump right into the presentation. So as mentioned, and again, thank you for joining. This session is covering platform analysis via FE Analytics. So in today's session, what we're going to cover off is how to navigate and find FE Advisor Asset, which is available through the FE Analytics platform. Talk a little bit about charge comparison and how to find the right solutions for your clients. Consolidation and switching, so how to view proposed solutions against existing investments. A little bit about platform due diligence, and we'll touch on the integration that is available through FE Analytics into FE Advisor Asset, and then we'll hopefully have some time for some high-level questions at the end of the session. What I would say is that, albeit today's a high-level overview of platform analysis via FE Analytics, we will be following up with you this week to reach out to attendees that join today's session and get your feedback, and also understand if you benefit from a one-to-one session with either your account manager or business development manager to understand a little bit more about platform analysis and walk through the system and understand how it can better benefit your existing advice processes. So before we get started on the platform analysis section, just a little bit about FE Fund Info. So we serve the investment ecosystem. We work with a number of institutions across the industry, fund managers, banks and brokers, platforms, life and pension providers, and financial advice and paraplanning firms, and also have integrations and connections with over 300 third parties and partners to enable us to provide data to yourselves. So where does FE Fund Info sit? So FE Fund Info sits at the heart of the wealth management and investment management ecosystem. So on the left-hand side, we work with asset managers to collect and verify their information, to calculate, enrich, produce and disclose that. So where does that then become relevant for yourselves in the advisory and wealth management space is we then take that data that can feed into our onboarding and engaging solutions, planning and research, and the ability to advise your clients and then ultimately make the investment on their behalf. So now with that being said and covering off high level information about FE Fund Info, let's jump into today's demonstration. So FE Advisor Asset is a business that we integrated into FE Fund Info last year, and it is available to all existing and new FE Analytics users. Where it can be found is on the left-hand menu here. If you hover over, we have a platform analysis tools section. When you click on this, you will see a range of options. We do have some guides that we have pre-built and are available for you to view. There's also the ability to request training through the menu as well. And there's three options that form part of the platform analysis solution. First is charge comparison. The way that I like to view this, charge comparison is where it's a new client who doesn't have any existing investments at this point in time, and you want to do analysis and research on the solution which would best suit the client's needs and where you would like to eventually place the investment, place the money. Consolidation and switch analysis is very similar, but the consolidation switch analysis is taking into account client's existing investments. So if it's a client that you inherit and already has some existing assets sitting over in pensions or ISAs or whatever it may be, and they come to you looking for advice, then you can take into account their existing investments plus any additional investments at that time and produce an overall report on investing all of their existing assets plus new assets in one place. And then finally, we have the platform due diligence section. So this is where you're really looking at, as a practice or as a firm, where do you, what kind of platform would be suitable based on for either your entire client base or perhaps just a subsection of your client base. You may be segmenting your clients based on the proposition that you offer to them, whether they're high net worth individuals or those that are continuing to grow their pots. The platform due diligence functionality will allow you to do research, inputting a range of requirements, and it will then output a report for you. So the first thing I'm going to do is jump into charge comparison. So you click onto that, it will then load up and take you into Advisor Asset. So before we jump into the actual charge comparison itself, there's some options on the left-hand menu that I want to draw your attention to. The first one is going to be My Platform. So we have already inbuilt a range of platform and life and pension providers into FE Advisor Asset. However, you may be part of a firm that has a white labeled own platform or a platform that's not currently available. So what this enables you to do is add your own platform and input information pertaining to that. So what are the charges, including any tiering, and then you can use this as part of your analysis. Then you have My Portfolios. So this is where you can create your own portfolios or funds that you wish to include as part of the analysis. Now, when it comes to adding a new fund or portfolio, there is an additional option here where you can integrate information from FE Analytics. So in the example where you have an existing portfolio that's saved on FE Analytics and you want to do the analysis on that, then you can import that portfolio. And I will touch on that a little bit later on, how you do that. Then there is My Exclusions. So there could be a multitude of reasons where you might want to exclude specific platforms and or providers from your comparison. So here you're able to set this up where you can control if you automatically want to exclude a platform from any analysis. Then there's My Special Terms. So all of the data that we have from the platform providers is very much based on what their standard charging fees and structures are, but you as a firm may have negotiated specific discounts or rates for your firm. So what you can come in here and do is you can add in additional terms. So for any platforms that are either in Advisor Asset already or one that you build, you can then build in any or override, just say, any charges and make them specific to your firm. And then there's My Clients. So before you start doing any analysis on a client, you will want to create them so that everything can flow through. So in this example here, you can see I've created myself as a client. So each time you want to do analysis on a particular client, you should come in first and add them as a new client. One of the things I just need to cover off is My Charges. So My Charges is where you can build in a fee profile. And the most relevant use case for this is going to be your own advisor charging. So what charges do you levy as part of your service? You can build them in here so that when you're carrying out your analysis, you can then just quickly select a drop down and then include those charges rather than having to manually input them each time. So when you want to start doing a piece of analysis, you can go into My Comparisons. If you want to start a new comparison, you can start new up here. I have Blue Peter style, got one that I've already made earlier. So I'm going to jump into the charge comparison for myself. You give the charge comparison a name. So it could, you can have different unique types of comparisons that you want to create. So each one will have its own unique name. And you'll filter down to investment details here, where you can see it will ask you what are you actually investing in ultimately. So is it collectives, like your GIA, ISAs, bonds, or pension? Once you've selected which one you want to input, then you can select either an imported portfolio or for whatever reason you can put not required, but we always recommend you put in an investment strategy, because the reality is you're wanting to overall show the cost of investing on that platform, so it will need the fund data. So I've got an example portfolio here already built in, and I've selected just to do a GIA investment. Then the projection basis, so how long do you want to run the projection for? You can either do it for a time span of years, or you can select up until a client's specific age. And then here we have the FC growth projection basis already input for you on both GIAs, bonds, ISAs, and pensions. You can override these, but we've got them already pre-built in. So if you want to do this on multiple different projection basis, or you would like to use your own projection rates, you can override that. And then advisor remuneration. So this is where my charges comes into things. So I've already built my own fee profile of what I'm going to charge as part of my service. So by default, it will have no advisor charges. Then you come in here and you select the one that you want to include. Also then going back to my platform section that we covered off earlier, then we have the ability to select here. If I built my own platform, I can include that as part of the analysis as well. And then if there's any tax wrapper providers that you want to filter out who don't meet the needs of your clients, you can select that. You can include any switching and rebalancing charges. If there's any family linking that you want to include, or any existing accounts, you can add them in here. So once I've input everything that I need, I can then click to then proceed. What the system will now do is it will look at the wrapper that I've selected, plus the investments and anything else that I input previously, and it will now go away and look for a range of platform and life and pension providers that will meet the needs of the analysis. So it will take a second to load, and it will pull through. It will then load on screen from top to bottom, from reduction in yield being from top to bottom, should start from the lowest to highest. And it will also include reference to the platinum rating as well. So if there's a platform that has platform rating, it will show here. You can, if you wish, choose to remove that rating from the view. Once the calculation has completed, it will allow me to then go in and have a look at all of the results here. So it's telling me that based on everything, AJ Bell comes to the top, all the way down to here. Now I might want to have a think about this and go, okay, I will select AJ Bell Invest Center. So if I then select them, it will then take me through to the next screen, and it will then ask me to note the reason why I am selecting that platform. So there's a range of options already built in here, but you can add in your own ones, and you can add as many as you want. So I can say here, big fan, so strength of our relationship. I can also then add in additional reasons. Once I've done this, it will then ask if I then want to produce a report on that basis. I can do it in either PDF or Word format. Now, if I choose to do Word format, that obviously means that I can go in and I can add that into any existing templates that I might have. So if you've got a wider document that you want to import that into, you can. The report will produce, give some introduction as to all the assumptions that's made, what it's going to include, what I've input, the funds that are being included, and the charges, and it will filter through and cover off everything to do with the platform provider charges, what basis of comparison has been done, and then it will also show me any providers that have been excluded due to either incompatibility or any exclusions that I've done, and then it will give me a summary of the comparison results. So that's the charge comparison feature. If you wish to do a consolidation or switch analysis, then you would select that option on the menu. Now, again, all the options on the left-hand side are pretty much all of the same as they were on the charge comparison, but the only difference with this is it now asks me during this process, do I want to add in any seeding schemes when I'm doing this? So I can add seeding schemes in, and I can add in the client's existing investments. I've already done this already. to make this nice and easy for today's demonstration. So I'm including an existing GIA, plus I'm making another £10,000 investment. The screen looks exactly the same as the previous, so the ability to choose the projection basis, include your charges, including the user-defined platforms. Once that's then done, it will follow the same process as before, and it will then go away and calculate based on the information that I've input suitable providers or platforms that would meet the needs. Now, the report that Outproduce produces on the back of it looks very much similar to the previous one, but the difference is it will actually show what the client's current charges are, and then what the new charges would be, and the reduction in yield that is associated with it. Now, while that's doing that in the background, I'm going to jump in and talk a little bit about the platform due diligence functionality. So you can select that from the options here. Now, this is where things are slightly deviate from the options that were on the previous screens. So on the left-hand menu, again, you have My Portfolios. So this is where you can choose to add your own portfolios or funds in. So that's pretty much the same as it was before. My platform usage. So these options are now starting to get into understanding a little bit more about your practice and what you do at present. So under My Platform Usage, it will ask you to confirm the platforms that you're currently using at this moment in time. And allow you to input some further information as to what that looks like. So what client bank is that meeting? If you have access already, how much of your business is already on the platform, and what's the percentage is likely to be on that in the next couple of years. Then My DFM, so this is really where it's driving down into whether you use MPS or you have access to a bespoke solution that you have agreed to have access to with your DFM partner of choice. You can come in here and select the DFMs that you use. So where this becomes important is naturally with regards to compatibility of platforms. It's not all DFMs make their solutions available to every platform. So you can add in up to 3 here and select the DFMs that you would use as part of your centralized investment proposition. Then My Back Office Systems. So again, this is about compatibility of platforms. So what back offices are you currently using at this moment in time? And there's a range of suppliers here. Again, this will be used as part of your evaluation and your analysis. And then we have the option here of My Practice. So it's understanding a little bit more about how many investment advisors do you have within your firm, number of investment clients, and the total values of AUM within your business. So this is really just setting the scene to at a high level and able to filter out the results that show. And then you can start a new evaluation. So when you start a new evaluation, you can do that as whole of practice or a particular client segment, or even just an individual client, should you wish. So you can do multiple types of analysis. So the point I made earlier, if you segment your client base, those are high net worth, those are still in accumulation phase, or those clients that have very specific requirements, then you can do analysis rather than just at a whole firm level. So once you have started a piece of analysis, you can come in here. I've got mine already set up. I'll just call it test. And we jump in here, the evaluation requirements. So what this at this point is taking you through a questionnaire, and it asks you a range of questions. So your fund and asset type requirements, fund availability, tax wrappers, functionality, what tools are available, DFMs, any accessibility requirements, and any support requirements as well. At the back of that, once you've completed all of the questions, then it will then output a report for you of the platforms that would meet the requirements based on everything you've input in the previous screens, plus everything you put in under my practice, my back office systems, my DFM, my platform usage. It will go away and calculate, and it will output a graph which will show you some further information about how many of your requirements that you've input are met by the platform provider. And then you can output that into a report. So I have to have a copy of that report here, already produced. Sorry, I apologize, it's opened halfway up. Platform evaluation, a bit of an introduction, the scope of what is being reviewed here, and how many and what platforms have been included. Just covers off some assumptions and limitations. Then this is the graph that we show on screen. So it will show you how much of your must-have and nice-to-have requirements are met by each platform based on everything I've input. Transact, M&G, and James Hay looking like they've got most of my must-haves. Then it dives into some further information, a different way of outputting to show to which degree each of your must-have requirements are met by each of the platform providers, and it uses a star system. Then it covers off the practice details that we input earlier. So what platforms are you using right now? Who's your back office? What DFMs do I use? What funds am I currently using as part of the practice? And it just drives into some further information about the answers that I've given to the questions earlier. And then the platform evaluation, it gives you just a little bit more information. So when did the platform launch? What's their AUM? How many people are using that? Also importantly for some firms, AKG ratings as well. So that's something that I know is undertaking a lot of due diligence, is the AKG rating. So that's all displayed here on screen, plus the financial standing. So it's not just AKG, it's also Moody's, Fitch, and S&P. And then some further evaluation on funds and assets. The report does go on, but I'm not going to jump into show you absolutely everything, but it does cover up quite a lot of detail here. With the notes about whether or not the requirement is met, or if it has been met, to what extent. So that in general is the platform analysis tools. One final thing I'd like to show you is, as we covered off in previous screens about being able to import portfolios under my portfolios. So when you select new, you get a few options here. So a dynamic portfolio is you create funds by fund family, and it'll find the lowest cost share class available. Static is you just put in specific funds, and it will not automatically update as and when cheaper share classes are available. You can create an MPS portfolio, so your own one. Now we have pre-configured DFM portfolios as well. So this is where we work with a range of DFMs. They provided us the data, so we built them in automatically into Advisor Asset for you to select. What I would say about that is, if there is a specific DFM portfolio, or so I should say a specific DFM MPS solution that is not showing when you carry out this analysis under pre-configured DFM, please do get in touch with us and let us know, and we can have a conversation with the DFM about getting them added. There's also pre-configured managed solutions, any off-platform assets or asset-based, and then finally import from CSV. So the import from CSV is where you can pull through the information from FE Analytics into FE Advisor Asset. So how do you get the portfolio data in? So you'll click on the Portfolios tab on your main screen on FE Analytics. And you'll click on the drop-down. Mine might take a second because there's probably about 55,000 portfolios that are saved between a team over the years. So I just got a random one that I have already got saved, Craig Aberdeen. If I click into Edit, then what it'll do is it'll bring up a little pop-up screen for me, and it will allow me to go in and edit that particular portfolio. Here's a second, it's just loading. So it'll take a second to load, but once you get in here and it's pre-populated the funds on the right side, then there is the option here that says Export for FE Advisor Asset. One thing to note is it should be available by default, but not if it's not for whatever reason. There is an option to click to configure toolbar here, and there'll be a list of available items on the left-hand side. If it's not showing, it will be available here. So export to FE Advisor Asset, and you can click to move it across to the selected items and update it so that it's available. So when you export for FE Advisor Asset, what it'll do is it'll automatically download a CSV file that will have the components of the portfolio, showing the identifier and the weighting. You can then, once that's saved into my downloads, I can then go into Advisor Asset, once I get rid of this, and I can then go in and do an upload of that portfolio. So in general, that is the platform analysis tools on FE Analytics. As I mentioned before, it's available to all existing FE Analytics users, so please go in and have a look. Again, there's guides and training available, and we will be reaching out via your account manager or business development manager to pick up with you directly, see if you'd like to benefit from more of a one-to-one demo where you can walk through the tool. But with that all being said, it's now really just to see if there's any questions that you have on the tool. And if there's anything that you would like us to go away and come back to you on, then be happy to do so. So I will stop sharing my screen for a second and just have a look to see if there's any questions. I can see here, I'm not sure if I was on mute, but hopefully you can all hear me. I'll give it a moment or so, see if there's any questions, but I can't see anything on our system. But as I mentioned before, we will be reaching out to you. So if there's any specific questions you have, we'll be happy to answer that. Okay, sorry, it wasn't me that was on mute. Okay, panic over. Excellent. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I don't want to keep anyone longer than necessary. But if I don't speak to you before then, if you're not someone that I speak to regularly, then I hope you have a lovely Christmas and a New Year. And again, thank you so much for your time. All the best. Thanks, everyone.